Un conseil de vie, prendre le temps des choses, le temps de regarder, le temps de discuter avec les gens, de regarder le vent souffler dans les feuilles, le soleil se lever le matin, le coucher du soleil au bord de la mer. Voilà, c'est prendre le temps, parce qu'à l'heure actuelle on court beaucoup, on va très vite, tout doit aller très vite, et je pense qu'il faut prendre le contre-pied de ça et prendre le temps des choses.
At the moment, for me, the most important thing is to truly and fully live in the moment, like live in the present. Your mind might be like wandering in the past or in the future, worrying, but like I think it's always important to come back to the present moment and just live fully in the present moment, because that's all we have. At the moment, this is how I feel.
마음속에 약간 하고 싶은 게 생겼을 때 약간 현실적으로 생각하는 것보다는 일단 그 마음의 목소리를 따라서 저지르는 게 저는 좋은 것 같아요.
Je pense que je lui dirais de ne pas trop se prendre la tête sur son avenir et autres, et que tout ira bien. Et aussi de ne pas trop s'inquiéter de ce que peuvent penser les gens ou autres. Et voilà, prendre confiance en soi. C'est tout.
So my advice for my younger self and for everybody else, actually it doesn't matter your age, it would be to stop thinking you have to pretend to fit in a crowd, to fit in a group. You need to go for what you like, and when you do what you like, the thing that brings you joy, then you will attract the right people, but never pretend to just fit a crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't let your dreams be sabotaged by people who don't like you or don't like what you are doing. That's what I would tell my younger self. Yeah.
Il faut vivre le moment présent, je pense, c'est pas mal. Et puis croire en ses projets, en ses rêves et en soi. Et c'est important de ne pas oublier qui on est, parce que sinon on se perd assez vite. Voilà.
I think I'll tell my younger self that life is not necessarily going to be what you expect, but that doesn't mean that it's not beautiful or worth fighting for at times. Like, things can be challenging, but if there's one thing I've always been good at, is choosing the right people to surround myself with and to build like a community that supports you and trust that most people would be there for you, and also that you will find your way, and you have to trust the process and trust that rejection is redirection, and you have these like big dreams and ambitions, and sometimes that doesn't happen exactly how you want it, but it usually means that there's something else for you. Remember that you're not alone. Try to not be so hyper-focused on yourself when things feel negative, and life is going to be beautiful. So trust it.
I think I would tell her to always trust her intuition and not necessarily follow the path people tell you to follow. Because at the end of the day, you know, your experience will be your own. and you should be happy with what you achieved and where you are in life. So yeah, I would say follow your intuition. Just you have one life, so just follow it.
Le conseil que je pourrais donner, c'est plutôt une citation. J'aimerais dire que rêver n'est pas interdit, que les petites envies ou oui, les rêves que tu as au plus profond de toi et que tu n'hésites pas à sortir, bah écoute-toi. Ouais, c'est ça, écoute-toi, écoute tes envies, apprends à te connaître et reste toi-même. Bon, ça peut être banal, mais oui, rester soi-même. Et oui, la vie, c'est l'apprentissage. Donc, apprends à te connaître, apprends à vivre avec les autres, apprends à vivre avec toi-même aussi. Et surtout, reste intègre. Voilà. Et continue de rêver. Ouais.
I would just tell myself not to limit myself. I would tell her not to limit herself because I feel like as a kid I didn't think I could even dream of living in another country. And also I would probably tell her that like she's cool and pretty because I don't think she thought she was cool or pretty. And just to dream big because at this point I think you can do anything. And I don't think she thought that. So yeah. Yay!
My life advice. Well, get out of your comfort zone, and I would say live like it's your last day. An easy phrase to say, just enjoy the time you have, because often you forget how valuable life can be, especially when you feel down. Feel it and embrace the feeling, because that's what makes you alive.
Honestly, more personally, or to the other children out there who are like more shy children, I think just go for it. Honestly, no one will remember what you do when you're younger, or even now. No one cares. And be different. As long as you're happy, do what you love. Like, you don't always have to go through the normal education route and like go to university. Or you can, but don't feel that you're forced to. So just live your life, be happy, and be kind to people, for sure. Yeah.
My life advice to anybody and to my younger self would be to cherish every moment, because one day you'll look back in your camera roll and you'll see your mother and father and they look completely different than how they look now, and you won't even know how it happened. So I would say take your time and cherish every single moment, because even though things may seem hard and uncomfortable right now, you're going to look back and not even know where the time went.
To my younger self, I would say believe in yourself a little bit more, girl. Show yourself a little bit of grace. Don't be such a hater. You're doing a good job. And maybe start going to the gym sooner. That's it.
I would tell baby Shani to continue to put yourself first in a tasteful way, I guess. Because throughout my life, I've always put other people first and never really considered myself, and that brought me down a lot of kind of iffy paths with like friendships, relationships, with family. So I think that it's also healthy to think about yourself and to love yourself in certain cases more than the other person.
I'd say the people that are around you at this time don't matter that much in the grand scheme, and in the end you always end up figuring things out. Even if it seems really shitty in the moment, you always end up figuring things out in the greater picture, as long as you stop being in your head and like look directly in front of you.
Hi, younger Sam. You should not be afraid to dance. You have a lot of energy and love in your body to share, and eventually you realized it and you now actively share it. So do it a little bit sooner, because I think it would really make you very happy. But eventually you did it anyway, and you found other people who love to dance with you too. Yeah.
Alors si je devais donner un conseil à mon moi, je pense que le premier truc que je dirais, c'est d'être libre de faire les choix qui nous semblent le plus appropriés et le plus proche du cœur. Parce qu'on a souvent tendance à suivre les choix de quelqu'un d'autre, que quelqu'un d'autre fasse nos choix pour nous. Et je pense que le plus important, c'est de suivre son instinct et de se mettre des barrières dans rien du tout dans la vie. Et de juste se laisser guider par le cœur et l'âme. Donc voilà, c'est ce que je dirais, je pense.
Donc de profiter des bons moments de la vie, de pas trop réfléchir et saisir les occasions quand elles se présentent. Voilà.
Hello, younger self. As I said before, do not hesitate to take risks, be bold. You have a lot to experience in life. You will meet amazing people, and if you let yourself be curious enough, you'll get to discover a lot, really a lot, in different places, people from everywhere, and you'll see for yourself that if you dare, you'll get much more than what you expect. Bye.